All right, sitting here with Boyd Allen after his unanimous decision victory over Bruno Mkulu. Congratulations on that. How did that win feel for you?
That was cool. It was good to get back into the cage and feel it out again and just get into a nice little mix-up of a fight.
Did you feel, though, like it was like a really clean performance? Because that's what it looked like.
Yeah, it was very clean. I didn't take much damage and I landed a lot of clean strikes on him and I won each round quite convincingly. So I would have liked to have finished in the last round, but it was good to get the time in the hex again.
What was the corner instructions just before the last round?
Just go out and do your thing. Like, be you, have fun, and take the opportunities when they come.
What was it like having Richie's voice in your ear again?
No, it's always been cool. I mean, that's what I'm used to, and that's what I come from, and it was like being at home again.
Yeah, because I mean he's very technical. So I mean I don't know how he is in the corners, but certainly when I speak to him, he's really technical. In the corners, what is he like?
No, he's awesome in the corners. He just gives me cues to use and tells me that there are opportunities available when I'm ready to use them, and I think that sort of cornering works well for me.
What sort of strategy did you bring into that fight? A lot of calf kicks we're seeing. Did you take inspiration from Dustin Poirier?
Yeah, I think I sort of damaged one or two of my previous opponents with calf kicks before, so it's a strength of mine and I enjoy trying to use that. It's almost like a jab in boxing, and it sets up a lot of combos after you start to do some damage with it.
Were you surprised that he kept switching, like his legs?
No, I think it was smart. I think if he had stayed in one stance, he would have taken too much damage on that front lead leg, on his left leg, and eventually would have had to give in or throw in the towel.
Do you think from him it was a bad performance, or from you was it just an exceptional performance?
No, I just think he froze. I think he didn't know how to deal with my movements and my angles, and as aggressive as he was trying to be, he wasn't actually doing much. For a bigger, sort of more physical guy coming down from two weight divisions above me, I expected a little bit more aggression and go forward pressure, and that didn't happen. So I just took advantage of the opportunity to pick him apart for 15 minutes.
I joked with you off camera before the last interview, like saying, "Oh, he's not going to make weights, is he?"
Yeah.
And you said, "No, he'll make weights," and it ended up he didn't make weights. I mean,
yeah.
how disappointing was that?
Yeah, I think the first part of any fight is making weight. I think that shows that you're conditioned, it shows that you're ready and your mindset's set for the fight, and it's just also part of being a professional. Not making weight, there's no excuse for that, unless it's a really short notice fight and then you've got a lot of weight to cut. But then there's always the conversation of a catchweight bout. And it was funny because I had joked around with one or two of my mates in Cape Town the week prior to the fight, and I said I doubt he'll make weight. He's a really big guy, but coming in almost 4 kilos overweight that's a bit childish.
What's the penalty for coming in that much overweight?
So normally you would take a percentage of their purse, or you could decide whether or not you wanted to take the fight, obviously. But going through a whole training camp, prepping for a fight, all your supporters are excited, I'm excited, and your team's excited, you put in the work. So I'm never going to say no to the fight. And I don't really want to take a percentage of my opponent's purse. That's not why I fight, or that's not what I'm looking for. But I think just as a gentleman's agreement, you should make weight. Yeah. And I think it showed. I think his conditioning wasn't where it should have been. Otherwise, he would have made the weight.
And what was it like stepping back into a good production? Let's put it that way. A very good production that the UFC run, but with no crowd. What was it like that?
So, if I'm being honest, I thought it was absolutely awesome. It was probably the best I've heard my corner. You hear all the strikes landing and all the shots, the kicks. And obviously you can get your instructions super clearly from your corner. So I enjoyed it. EFC put on an amazing production, and just the vibe and the feel was absolutely awesome. So I had a lot of fun.
So is the next fight going to be a mixed martial arts fight?
It's probably going to be a boxing fight. We're looking either at the 28th of May or sometime in July in Namibia or in Tanzania. And if the opportunity presents itself and everything goes well and I get my license, granted I get my license, then I'm going to take it and go for it.
I like how the boxing world has problems with the crossover, but the MMA world, they happy with it?
Yeah, I think they're quite happy with the crossover, and I think it just shows that one of their athletes can compete in a different combat sport. And I think that's what a mixed martial artist should be. If you want to be a mixed martial artist, then you should be able to mix it up in all different combat areas, and that's what the goal is.
So if the goal is to have a boxing match next, would the goal after that be to get back in the hexagon, octagon, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to switch it up a little bit. If it's 1-1 or if it's 2 and then 1, it doesn't really matter. Whatever fight comes first, I'll take. But it's also nice just to have the ability to do that while we're young and healthy and in good shape.
So when you're preparing for a boxing fight, what are you doing in preparations? Where are you going to train? And then?
So I'm doing a little bit more work with Chris Thompson, obviously, from a boxing movement point of view, but I still train with Rich and the guys at FFM. I think I'm used to that, and that's my team. And just because it's a boxing fight doesn't really change the way I train. It just changes what I do in my training. So obviously my jiu-jitsu and my wrestling gets put on the back foot, and we focus more on striking and movements and conditioning for boxing. So not much changes in that respect. I still go through the same time as all the other guys go through to their training sessions, and we just put in a little bit of different work.
And in the fight that you just had now, we did see it, majority of the fight being on the feet anyway. So did you feel that you were at home there? Yeah,
I'm very comfortable striking. I enjoy striking, and I think when I think about fighting, that's what I think. I think striking. I'm fortunate enough to have a decent ground game, and when the fight hit the ground, I started to dominate there too. And I still thought to myself, like, I could have put him on his back a bit earlier and won the fight if I wanted to. But I enjoy the striking aspect of the fight, and I think the crowd enjoys that too.
How much does weight play an advantage in grappling?
Weight's obviously a big advantage in grappling if you're a lot heavier, but I mean, I roll with guys that are half my size and they destroy me, and I roll with guys that are twice my size and I destroy them. So it just depends on your skill level, not really weight as such. But if you're both on an even playing field skill-wise, then weight plays a big factor.
Why I asked that as well, because when you were in the clinch and you were like up against the fence, you escaped pretty easily. Like you managed to manipulate and get out.
Yeah, I think that also it's what work you put in when you're in the gym and you're prepping for the fights, game plan and things like that. We knew that he would try and be physical and use his judo, so maybe look for throws, and he would do that to try and push me up against the cage. I enjoy being in the clinch. I can use knees and elbows. So I didn't really panic too much when I was like pushed up against the cage. He was very physical and strong, but I managed to manipulate him and turn him off the cage and get back to the center and start putting combinations together.
Next question, also an MMA question. Have EFC proposed maybe a title shot for you?
Yeah, they're obviously looking for me to fight for a title either in the featherweight or lightweight division. I'm not too keen to go down to featherweight again. I've grown a little bit since I'd last competed. I've put on a little bit more muscle mass. And I'm getting older, so I'm getting a little bit heavier naturally, and I'd like to maybe fight at lightweight. And if the title shot presents itself and it's and sort of everything aligns, then I'll take it.
Also on the tournament was your teammate Martin van Staden, who made light work of his opponents very early. What do you think's next for him?
Look, I think we're both hoping to maybe look for an opportunity to compete in an international promotion for MMA. And that's what the goal is. So we're trying.
And he's been around also forever. He's almost deserving of these opportunities.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think Martin's probably in the best shape of his life, and when it comes to skill sets, I think he's never looked better. So if there's a time, it's now.
And he also, I mean, you guys go all over the world together. You're very comfortable with each other. Has there ever been a situation where someone just doesn't fit into the team?
No, I think the team is all about the work ethic, and we like guys that like to put in work daily, and the guys that like and enjoy the grind, as hard as it may be. And if the guys can't keep up, they'll leave themselves. It's not that they get kicked out or we ask them to leave. The guys just won't cut it, and they'll walk out. We don't have to say anything. The guys that are game and the guys that enjoy the grind and want to put in the work on a daily basis, they'll stay and they'll stick it out.
Are you happy when you see more and more South African athletes getting a push overseas? I see more people doing voting polls and which is Africa's best fighter, and all those things. Obviously, Don Madge, Drickers is all involved in that conversation. Are you happy when you see more push for African athletes?
No, definitely. We always have to support the local guys, and it's nice to see the boys doing well and getting the opportunity abroad. We just got to wish them the best of luck, and hopefully they get to the top.
So those dates for Tanzania or Namibia, are they close to being done?
Yeah, so we're waiting for confirmation on the dates and opponents, etc. And if all goes well, fingers crossed, we'll get the opportunity and start getting ready to fly over.
Do you have a say in who you're fighting?
No, I don't really. I don't think I've ever really had a say. I'd sort of just go with whatever the promotion is looking at. I think as a fighter, you shouldn't really be able to choose your opponent. You should just fight the best in the division.
And who goes with you? How many people go with you? Like, who's traveling?
So we're still not too sure yet. Obviously, just awaiting confirmation, and then we can start to look at putting a team together. And I'll be traveling with Chris Thompson and probably Shannon at the same time. So maybe one or two other guys that would come with and help, depending on the availability of coaches and that type of thing.
All right, and how's business here at the Apex Gym?
It's doing well, yeah. The jiu-jitsu competitors all competed this weekend in the ADCC Nogi competition. We did really well with 7 golds, 6 silvers and 4 bronze, and I think that's sort of boosted the spirit in the gym a little bit, and it's got a lot more people wanting to compete and put in some hard work, so it's growing and we're excited.
Do you think the next generation will be better than this one?
It has to be. I mean, if we're going to pass down that sword and that shield, then the guys have to be levels above us, and that's why we coach and we help out. We want them to be above us and we want them to get to that next level, and that's why we're sort of setting the stage now for them. I think in 2 or 3 generations' time, that's when South African athletes are going to start to prosper.
How much input do you have in the coaching? I know that is your gym, but do you still coach a lot?
Yes, I still coach. I take 3 of the classes during the week, and other coaches take the rest of the classes. Obviously, just from a time management point of view and my training, I need to do that, but I coach as much as I can.
All right, and Boyd, lastly, do you want to send a message to, well, I was going to say the boxing, but it could be MMA, it could be boxing, we don't know. Like, do you want to send a message to the South African combat community?
Yeah, I just think it's good to mix it up and to try different things, and there's no better time than now. So if you're looking for the opportunity, put your hand up and take it.